I grew up in a little town on the Natal North Coast. I was the eldest of 4 children. There was a great amount of teachers in my family, so it was a natural trajectory to become a teacher. I met my husband second year at university, and we've been together ever since. We have 2 little girls, a teenager and a 5-year-old. So our household swings between pop music and Barbie. So family time's always interesting and diverse. I'm a full-time research student at the moment. I'm completing my PhD at Rhodes. My study is opening the question around human capital development issues in the sector. It's looking at how people enter the sector, how people move in the sector, what's enabling people to move, what's constraining movement of scientists in the sector. I believe very, very strongly that innovation in the biodiversity sector and in the environmental sector broadly is strongly reliant on human capital and skills development. And I think that those are the issues that are most important to me, is to get that understanding of the skills development systems, to understand how the skills architecture works in South Africa, and to understand how we can work with the skills systems much better as the biodiversity sector to enable smoother transitions of biodiversity professionals. And that's the area of work that my study is working at. I think that a very large contribution that my study is going to make is to help the sector to develop an understanding of the education and training system, the post-school sector, and what comprises that system, and how environment is represented in that system. And I think that I'm making quite a contribution in terms of becoming familiar with the structures that be. At university, I majored in zoology and botany. So I taught biology at schools. I've always had a natural interest in plants and animals. And I really enjoyed the experience of working with children in terms of plants and animals. What introduced me to working formally in the environmental sector was taking my own learners to an environmental center. So I would do that often as a biology teacher, and that generated an interest in working in an enviro center, purely because I could see how inspiring it was to work in those kind of environments. And I could see the opportunities for quite creative, innovative learning that the natural environment presented. So I tended to, in my entry into the sector was around there, was about using the natural environment as an opportunity to create learning, as a resource for learning. And so a lot of the work that I did as I entered the sector was to work with teachers and how they could use the natural environment as a learning resource. I think that GreenMatter over the last couple of years has actually grown, in my opinion, to be quite a recognizable brand, and one that's associated with what I consider to be meaningful work. So that was a very big motivation, to be part of and to formally join a community of people that are like-minded, that are interested and committed to doing the kind of work and had the same research questions that I was interested in. So it's joining that community that interested me. I think that what the GreenMatter Fellowship offers me is this opportunity and space to kind of contemplate my personal and professional development. Being a full-time student, you're always a bit unsure where to next. How am I going to use the learnings through the course of my PhD? And the fellowship presented to me that kind of reflective, critical space, but not alone, in a supported environment to kind of explore where to in my professional journey. And I think that that's been, or I'm looking forward to that quite a lot. I'm very interested in actually remaining working around human capital development research issues. I'm keen to remain in research-related work, and I would very much like to work in raising the profile of HCD issues in the sector broadly, because we often neglect it. I mean, there are very serious environmental challenges out there, but what lies beneath all of it is our capacity to be able to address them. And the human capacity questions are not sufficiently asked or probed. So I would like to spend a lot more time in that kind of space, working with others and actually growing this research area. It's a newer research area in the biodiversity sector, and I'd like to contribute to it and then to work with others to expand this research area.